You gave them every chance to win. If you look at this in slow motion, you can see Caitlin Clark clearly smiling in confusion, smiling in, did that really just happen? Smiling in, you sly W. And she says, she points at the other team, you gave them every chance to win. Oh, goodness gracious. Caitlin Clark, she's chomping at the bits to start talking to these referees during the game.
The WNBA has found itself in the middle of another storm. And this time, Caitlin Clark and Sydney Colson aren't holding back. They've had it with questionable officiating, double standards, and a league that seems more interested in silencing its stars than protecting them. What should have been a night of celebration for the Indiana Fever quickly turned into another flashpoint for the league's credibility crisis. Indiana edged out the Los Angeles Sparks in a nail-biting 76-75 victory, but instead of basking in the win, the post-game talk was dominated by baffling, one-sided calls that left players, fans, and analysts stunned. For many, this game has become Exhibit A of how the WNBA is losing trust in real time. The question now is whether the league will finally step up and fix the mess, or let frustration continue to boil over. What do you think? Can the WNBA turn it around? Drop your thoughts in the comments below.
Who paying you, ref? Who you betting on? And mind you, there was some problems going on with the shot clock throughout the game. But man, there is no way. Right at the end of the game, you should be on top of it. You telling me you're not paying attention to when some hands touch that ball? Come on, man. And then to reward them with the timeout, like, fam, that's crazy work. Look, Caitlin Clark, like, what is going on here? Like, no. Look, Caitlin ready to run the floor, fam.
Let's rewind to the second quarter. Kelsey Mitchell, Indiana's other scoring force alongside Caitlin Clark, attacked the rim with purpose. She blew past her defender clean, only to be grabbed and yanked mid-drive. Not a bump, not a brush. A full-on yank, obvious to everyone in the building. The crowd waited for the whistle. Nothing. The refs swallowed it, as if the foul never happened. Mitchell, tough as ever, powered through and finished the layup anyway, but the damage was already done. The Fever bench erupted in disbelief.
There is one referee. We definitely have to check for betting slips for this guy right here. I think his name is like Agun Agazi, because it sure seemed like he did not want to let the Fever take away this win, making the last 1.9 seconds last almost 5 minutes. He was just like letting them call a reset timeout, and then he was like, no, it's a foul. But I think the worst part about that 1.9 seconds was when 0.4 seconds was left on the clock, and Kelsey Mitchell was at the free throw line. She was trying to miss on purpose because that takes time off of the clock, because if she would have made it in, they would have been able to inbound and possibly do a tip in. But this guy allowed a reset timeout. When do you allow a reset timeout with 0.4 seconds?
That's when Caitlin Clark, sidelined with injury but locked in as always, finally snapped. She leapt up from the bench, shouting at the refs, arms waving, demanding, call it. Her fire lit up the Fever sideline. Lexi Hull followed suit, rising in outrage at the blatant no call. And the referee's response? Not to fix their mistake, but to slap Hull with a technical foul. Think about that. The player who got hacked got nothing. The defender who committed the foul kept playing. And the teammate who dared to call out the injustice was the one punished. If that doesn't look like rigging, what does?
That's what everybody saw in that game. Like, it didn't really matter what was going on. We all knew what was happening. We all knew what was happening there. And the game was being given. The game was absolutely being given to the Sparks. They were giving the Sparks every single chance possible to go and win that game. Even though realistically, did they deserve to win that game? Hell no. Hell no. They did not. And I mean that. They did not deserve to win that game.
And it wasn't just the Fever losing their cool. Watching from home, while rehabbing her torn ACL, Sydney Colson had seen enough. She pulled out her phone and unleashed one of the most viral tweets of the season. At some point in this league's history, Kelsey Mitchell needs to get the same whistle other stars get. The way she gets assaulted is insane. Honestly, I've thought about asking my sister to open a case and press.
But Kelsey Mitchell's whistle last night was horrific. And Kelsey drove to the basket a lot. She is the type of person that just like goes through a lot of defenders, and she wasn't getting a call. This really was not her game. She was not hitting it from the three whatsoever, but everyone is entitled to having a bad game here and there, and I think she was kind of due for one because of the tear that she's been on lately. Even Sid Colson took to Twitter to talk about it, saying, at a certain point in the league's existence, I'm gonna need Kelsey Mitchell to get the same whistle as other stars. The way she gets assaulted is insane, actually.
Colson had simply put into words what Fever fans have been shouting all season. This isn't just sloppy officiating. It feels like systematic targeting. Indiana players are getting mugged on the floor and punished for daring to complain. Her tweet, dripping with fury, sarcasm, and brutal honesty, struck a nerve. It exploded online, drawing thousands of shares as fans everywhere echoed the same sentiment. Finally, someone said it. And of course, Caitlin Clark couldn't resist chiming in. Her reply was perfect, 6 words, sharp and sarcastic. Careful, you're going to get fined. That one line said everything. Clark knows better than anyone how this league works. You can take the hits, you can get ignored, you can watch phantom whistles change games, but the moment you call it out, the WNBA comes for you. And she wasn't exaggerating. Just ask Sophie Cunningham, the league's poster child for what happens when players tell the truth about officiating. Cunningham has been fined 3 separate times for doing exactly that. First, $500 for lip-syncing a TikTok song, calling referees stupid and useless. Then, $1,500 more for criticizing inconsistency on her podcast. And finally, another fine after she pointed out the obvious, that Paige Buchers was being baited by whistles while guards like Kelsey Mitchell were getting hacked with zero protection. Honesty in the WNBA comes with a price tag.
But like, I love Paige to death. Do not get me wrong. I think, like, again, I think she's a hell of a player and like would love to play with her one day. But those refs were giving her every freaking whistle last night. Like, you literally couldn't touch her. Couldn't touch her. And that shit is so annoying to me. Like, and if you're gonna do that, then give it to our guards. Like, I just hate the inconsistency.
Like when whistles are player focused, that's like, I mean, I think that's a huge problem. But then again, like I don't know what sport that doesn't exist. But she's a rookie. She shouldn't get whistles as a rookie.
Think about the message being sent here. Under Kathy Englebert's watch, the WNBA isn't protecting its players. It isn't prioritizing fairness. Instead, it's finding its own stars into silence. It feels less like leadership and more like a protection racket. Take whatever the refs hand you, or we'll hit your wallet. Not just embarrassing, corrupt. Colson knows it too. Her reply back to Clark landed like a gut punch. I can't get no more fine. Translation? She's already been punished by this system to the max. When players start joking, or half joking, about being fined in a bankruptcy just for demanding fairness, it stops being funny. It becomes a damning indictment of a league that claims to be growing while refusing to address its most glaring problem: corrupt, inconsistent refereeing. And let's be clear, this isn't about one missed foul. It's a pattern. Night after night, Indiana Fever players are hacked, shoved, elbowed, and targeted with excessive physicality. The response? Silence from the refs. Punishment when the Fever protest. And smirks from opponents who know they'll get away with it. It's the exact opposite of how a league should treat its biggest star. Caitlin Clark is the face of women's basketball, the player filling arenas and breaking TV records. Yet she's the one absorbing cheap shots with no protection.
Over and over this.
More people are talking about the refs than that. More people are talking about Caitlin Clark's reaction than that. And that just sums up how bad the refereeing is that we have seen an unbelievable game. We have seen an unbelievable game. A game where you're like, okay, maybe, just maybe, the Fever have not even just maybe, the Fever put themselves in a great position. They put themselves in a great position to succeed. But now you're looking and you're like, What do people remember from this game? Caitlin Clark having to be restrained by her team.
The real outrage isn't about one game or one missed whistle. It's about the numbers, cold, hard data that reveal a league-wide pattern of bias that WNBA refuses to confront. Start with the headline stat. Caitlin Clark has absorbed 17% of all flagrant fouls in the league this season. One rookie, one player, nearly a fifth of the most violent fouls in women's basketball aimed squarely at her. That's not physical play or rookie growing pains. That's targeted harassment disguised as competition. And what have the referees and commissioner, Kathy Engelbert, done? Look the other way, acting like it's business as usual. And Clark isn't alone. Kelsey Mitchell has become the poster child for swallowed whistles. Just as Sydney Colson pointed out, Mitchell gets hacked, grabbed, shoved, and undercut almost nightly, yet rarely sees the line. Against the Sparks, she attacked the paint over and over and walked away with just 2 free throws. 2. Meanwhile, the league's protected stars get whistles for simply flinching on a closeout. That's not officiating. That's selective enforcement, and it's killing the game's credibility. The league solution? Not reform, not accountability. Fines. Anyone who dares speak the truth gets punished for hurting the ref's feelings. Sophie Cunningham nailed it. If I was a ref, I know I would mess up all the time. But when it's a simple call, right in front of your face multiple times, what are you doing? That's not slander. That's not disrespect. That's a fair, reasonable critique. And how did the WNBA respond? By docking her pay like she'd stolen from the team bus. This isn't conspiracy talk. It's a pattern. Indiana, and especially Clark and Mitchell, are being officiated under a different set of rules. Even head coach Stephanie White has been warning about it all season, calling the double standard egregious and begging the league for fairness. Her reward? The same treatment Cunningham got, another fine, because apparently, in today's WNBA, the most serious crime isn't hacking a player on the court. It's telling the truth about the refs.
It was this dude right here. And from what I've seen, the man has been a part of controversial calls all year. He's been a part of it all year, man. Oh my goodness. What was his name? Jack, what you say? Agan Abazi. Agan Abazi, man. This man is diabolical work to the WNBA. He's betting. Somebody get the shame bell. Ding, ding, shame.
So here we are. Caitlin Clark and Sydney Colson have ripped the mask off the WNBA's officiating problem. The whole world can now see what Fever fans have known all season. This isn't basketball, it's rigged theater. And unless Engelbert and her referees face real reform, every Indiana Fever game will carry an asterisk. The question now is simple. Will the WNBA finally listen to its players and fans? Or will they keep punishing truth-tellers and letting corruption thrive? Based on their track record, don't hold your breath. Do you think the WNBA will clean up this mess? Let us know in the comments. Like, subscribe, and turn on all notifications so you never miss out. Click the video on the screen, and we will see you in the next one.